Good afternoon. Hello, some new faces in here today. As we approach the end of the year, it is a great time to reflect on how much progress our country has made under President Trump's bold leadership. Given the complete mess that President Trump inherited from Joe Biden and radical left Democrats in Congress, what this administration has accomplished since January 20th has been nothing short of remarkable. While most politicians promise big on the campaign trail and break those promises once they get into office, President Trump promised big and has delivered even bigger. On the economic front, after inheriting the worst inflation crisis in over 4 decades, President Trump's pro growth policies are making tremendous progress to make America affordable again. Under the painful Biden years, inflation reached a record high 9% and devoured Americans' purchasing power. In President Trump's term thus far, inflation has dropped to an average of just 2.7%, marking critical progress. The Trump administration is working hard every single day to bring down the cost of living through bigger paychecks and lower prices. Real wages are finally on the rise again and on pace to increase to roughly $1,200 for the average American worker this year. To put that into perspective, real wages declined by almost $3,000 under the Biden administration. That means Americans right now are on track already to make up 1/3 of the 3,000 in lost wages under Joe Biden. There's much work to do, but this has already been significant progress. President Trump has also delivered resoundingly on his promise to end Joe Biden's insane war on American energy and make sure our country has reliable and affordable energy produced right here at home. As a result, the nationwide average for regular gas just fell to its lowest level in nearly 5 years. According to data from Gas Buddy released on Monday, average gas prices have now dipped below $3 per gallon in 37 states, below $2.75 per gallon in 22 states, and below $2.50 per gallon in 5 states. Just a few years ago, we saw record high price gas of nearly $5 per gallon. American families faced constant pain at the pump, and those costs caused the price of everything else to go up as well. In fact, the average cost for a gallon of regular gas in the country was the most expensive price during a presidential term in U.S. history under Biden's disastrous leadership, even with them recklessly draining our strategic reserves to try and artificially decrease prices. But thanks to President Trump, those days are long behind us. In the months ahead, Americans can expect prices to fall even further. We know that when gas gets cheaper, everything else gets cheaper too, and that's what this president is focusing on. Americans can also expect another boost to their bank accounts in the months ahead as 2026 tax refund season is upon us after the holidays and is projected to be the largest ever thanks to President Trump's passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill. According to recent analysis from Piper Sandler, when Americans file their taxes early next year, their refunds could be about 1/3 larger than usual, or roughly an extra $1,000 per filer. That is money straight into the pockets of the American people. It's only because of President Trump and Republicans' leadership that Americans will now pay no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security. President Trump and Republicans believe hardworking Americans deserve to keep more of their hard-earned money, but Democrats, on the other hand, every single one of them, voted against these massive tax cuts. So remember that the next time Democrats try to talk about affordability. Democrats don't have a single clue about how to make America more affordable. They just spent the last 4 years creating the very affordability crisis that President Trump is fixing right now. And if given the chance of power ever again, the Democrats will implement those same policies and jack inflation right back up to where it was. Finally, at the border, President Trump has restored America's sovereignty and made our country safe again. This is the single greatest and fastest national security victory in modern American history, and it's not even close. The latest preliminary numbers released from the month of November show we have the most secure border in our nation's history. This is a remarkable achievement. November encounters came in even lower than the previous historic low in October, if you can believe it. There were only 30,367 total encounters nationwide. That's lower than the previous record set in October. And for the 7th consecutive month, U.S. Border Patrol released 0 illegal aliens into the United States. Let me repeat, 7 months of 0 illegal aliens being released into our country. This is a historic achievement, and it's one that every law-abiding American citizen should be grateful for. At this point, in 10 months under President Trump's unmatched leadership, we've seen less apprehensions overall than we saw in just 1 month under Joe Biden. Again, let me repeat, in 10 months under President Trump, we've seen less apprehensions at the southern border than we saw in 1 month under the previous president. Again, remarkable results. All in all, the economy is back on track and ready to boom over the next 3 years. Biden's inflation crisis is over. Prices are coming down. Wages are rising. The border is fully secure, and America's best days are to come. President Trump has kept his word and delivered for the American people over the past year, and he will not stop fighting, as you heard from him directly this week, until our country and every state in this country is better than ever before. So with that, I will take your questions today. I know there's a lot of news. We'll start with our new media seat. Mr. Bowling, it's great to see you here. He's of Real America's Voice. He's also the host of Edge, his interview and commentary podcast. Please, Eric, why don't you kick us off?
Karoline, thank you very much for this and inviting me to the new media seat. As you point out, affordability prices, it strikes me energy prices have been coming down aggressively since President Trump's second term, approaching $55 a barrel for oil, gasoline, as you point out, under $3 a barrel nationally, first time in 5 years. By the way, that $55 barrel oil is about half of the peak under the last 4 years of the last administration, half price. Wholesale prices come down yet. Affordability crisis. A lot of the folks in this room, a lot of legacy media, some people in the front row seem to want to call this an affordability crisis right now, forgetting the fact that over the last 4 years prior, we hit 9% inflation. Wages, as you point out, were stagnant at best, sometimes have dipped. That's a real affordability crisis there, but they weren't really calling it that then. You point out how President Trump is changing the affordability in America, but how will he ensure that the legacy media doesn't flip the script and change it so that they're using affordability as their word, their idea, versus what the American people who know much better?
Yeah, well, it's a great question, Eric, and it's a point of frustration for the president and for myself. I will say that's part of the reason I just kicked off this briefing today, setting the record straight with facts about the economic mess that the president inherited from his predecessor, Joe Biden. And he's focused on digging our country and our economy out of that hole every day. Things are getting better, and they will continue to. And President Trump understands better than any politician in this city the pain that the American consumer has been feeling for years now because of the last administration's policies. You heard him in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania this past week campaigning and talking to these voters, saying, I was elected to fix this problem and I am fixing it. Don't forget who created it, and that's the Democrats. And I think when you hear the president talk about affordability, he's saying the Democrats are the greatest con artists in history because they are now trying to claim ownership of an issue that they created. And every data point and every economic metric does in fact show that the economy is improving. And so I do wish more people would report on those facts. I do wish that more people would remind the American public how we got here and why. It does not mean this president is discarding the feelings of the American people. He gets it better than anyone, which is why his entire administration has been focused on the issue of the economy and energy prices since day one. Sure.
It's reported that around 10,000 commercial driver's license operators have been pulled by your transportation secretary department. Will the president apply that same metric? For the reason was the operators weren't speaking or reading English to a level that was safely, people thought they were safely able to operate trucks on our roadways. It's estimated in California around 40% of Uber drivers, Uber and Lyft drivers, don't speak English proficiently, and the number's 45% in Minnesota. Will this same rule or metric apply to the gig economy like Uber and Lyft?
So I don't have any announcements on further regulations, if you will, from the Department of Transportation with respect to this issue. However, I will just reiterate the Trump administration's position is that truck drivers, particularly those driving big rigs on our nation's road and highways, who have a great responsibility to keep the American public and their fellow citizens safe, should be speaking English and should have an ability to read English proficiently. I think that's a very common sense policy to have. And we've unfortunately seen, and the Department of Transportation has uncovered and is actively working to fix these state-sponsored commercial trucking driver licenses, which were going to people who are not qualified to be driving these massive trucks on American roads, and they're endangering the lives of our fellow citizens. We've unfortunately seen many vehicle accidents across the country where people have lost their lives because of drivers that were just simply unqualified to be driving these trucks. So I know this is something DOT and Secretary Duffy take very seriously. Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. Based on the way that things stand right now, is Operation Southern Spear about drugs or is it about oil?
What I will tell you, Peter, is that the Trump administration is focused on doing many things in the Western Hemisphere. The president has taken a new approach that has not been taken by any administration for quite some time to actually focus on what's going on in our own backyard. And there are two things that are very important to this administration. Number one, stopping the flow of illegal drugs into the United States of America, which we know has killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. The president promised on the campaign trail that he would demolish the foreign terrorist organizations and drug cartels around the world, especially right here in our own hemisphere. And you have seen that he is delivering on that promise. With respect to the oil and what happened yesterday, the Department of Justice requested and was approved for a warrant to seize a vessel because it's a sanctioned shadow vessel known for carrying black market sanctioned oil to the IRGC, which you know is a sanctioned entity. So the president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy, and that's what you saw and the world saw take place yesterday.
And because you said the president is trying to do a lot of things at once, he talks a lot about how he thinks the way to bring down prices for everything would be to bring down the cost of energy. Would he use this seized Venezuelan oil to try to help Americans with affordability here in the United States?
Well, what I can tell you right now, the vessel has been seized, as you know. And the Department of Justice did that in conjunction with the Coast Guard and the Department of War. The vessel is currently undergoing a forfeiture process right now. The United States currently has a full investigative team on the ground on the vessel, and individuals on board the vessel are being interviewed, and any relevant evidence is being seized. With respect to the oil, that's a different issue. As you know, Peter, the vessel will go to a U.S. port, and the United States does intend to seize the oil. However, there is a legal process for the seizure of that oil, and that legal process will be followed.
And just my last one on this. If President Trump launches a bigger military campaign in the Caribbean, is he jeopardizing a possible Nobel Peace Prize?
Look, the president has proven over the past year that he is more than worthy of the Nobel Peace Prize. I think he's been nominated for it nearly 100 times this past year, which is definitely a record. He's solved, I think, 9 conflicts around the world. We are up to now. He's actively working on the Russia-Ukraine war, which is the big one as we speak, and has been over the past year. With respect to any additional action in Venezuela, I'm definitely not going to get ahead of the president or the United States military. Mary.
It now seems all but certain that the Obamacare subsidies will expire at the end of the year. It means more than 20 million Americans are now bracing for their health care costs to soar. Is the president prepared to let this happen, or is he going to step in?
The president is prepared to take action on health care, and he wants Republicans on the Hill to do the same. As you have seen, Senate Republicans put forth their own legislation earlier this week. As for the subsidies that are set to expire, I would like to remind you and everybody at home why this is on the brink of happening. Democrats wrote Obamacare. They passed it without a single Republican vote, and then they ballooned it with these expensive COVID subsidies that completely distorted the health insurance market. And then they doubled down, extending those subsidies and setting their own expiration date right now in 2025, which the administration is obviously well aware of. And we are working, the president is working with his healthcare policy team here at the White House, as well as Republicans on Capitol Hill, to find a solution.
He said he's working to find a solution. He wants to see a solution to lower healthcare costs.
He does.
But these subsidies are expiring at the end of the year. So what is the plan, and what is he going to do to put this in place in the next 2-3 weeks?
You'll hear more from the president and from the White House on that very soon. As for wanting a solution to lower healthcare costs, I'm glad you said it because the president is doing just that. He has made unprecedented progress towards lowering healthcare costs in this country and drug prices. He's secured numerous most favored nation drug price deals with many more to come. As you know, the One Big Beautiful Bill, the working family tax cut, significantly expanded access to health savings accounts for those on Obamacare. Again, a Democrat written program and approved program, which has led to higher healthcare costs in this country. So it goes back to the issue of affordability. Democrats are now pretending they want a solution to this issue, but they created the problem. The president and Republicans are currently coming up with creative solutions and ideas to lower healthcare costs for the American people, and you'll continue to hear more from them on that.
Before these subsidies expire?
I just say you're going to continue to hear more from the president and Republicans on this issue, I'm sure. Sure, Bloomberg, go ahead.
The president said he was going to be holding a call with the leaders of Thailand and Cambodia. Have those calls taken place? Is there a readout you can share?
The president has not yet engaged in those calls, and when he does, I'm sure you will hear from him directly, as you always do, after foreign leader calls or from somebody here at the White House. I do know with respect to the conflict in the peace deal in Thailand and Cambodia and some of the conflicts you've seen arise, reports of that in the press over the past couple of days. The president addressed it in Pennsylvania. The administration is obviously tracking this at the highest levels and is very much engaged. I spoke with Secretary Rubio about it this morning.
Will senior U.S. officials be meeting Saturday with European and Ukrainian officials to discuss the peace plan?
Look, the United States and the Trump administration continues to be very much engaged in trying to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to an end. President had a call with Europeans yesterday. His special envoy Witkoff and his team continue to talk with both sides. Literally, there's a real chance of signing a peace agreement if we feel like those meetings are worthy of someone on the United States' time this weekend. Then we will send a representative. It's still up in the air whether we believe real peace can be really move the ball forward. The president is extremely frustrated with both sides of the war, and he is sick of meetings just for the sake of meeting. He doesn't want any more talk. He wants action. He wants this war to come to an end. And the administration has spent more than 30 hours, just in the past couple of weeks, meeting with the Russians and the Ukrainians and the Europeans and speaking with them as well. So we'll see about the meetings this weekend, and stay tuned.
President Zelensky's latest proposal that was sent over yesterday.
He's aware of it, yes.
The president says that he's interviewing candidates. So I just want to be clear. So the pick has not been in, and could we get an announcement before Christmas?
I know every business outlet in the world is just chomping at the bit for a announcement. I'm not going to get ahead of the president. I know there's been a lot of reports about potential meetings this week with potential candidates. Look, as always, this is a decision the president himself is going to make. And I know there's a lot of reporting out there from anonymous sources who claim to know something. I would wait and see what the president himself does and announces, and I certainly won't be the one to get ahead of him on that.
On the economy, can I ask you about
Michael, go ahead.
On the next Fed chair, does the president have an expectation that his pick will lower interest rates next year to his liking?
I think the president has been quite clear about what he believes the Fed should be doing, which is lowering interest rates. I know there was a 1/4 point reduction this past week, and the president was pleased to see that, but he thinks more should be done. Philip.
Thank you, Caroline. On these advanced NVIDIA H200 chips, why is the president willing to allow China to have access to one of America's chief technological advantages?
Look, I will tell you just a couple of things. The president put out his own statement on this, which I do think highlights his exact thinking. What you see from the president on Truth Social is most of the time what you hear from the president behind closed doors privately. He told President Xi that NVIDIA will only be shipping H200 products to approved customers in China under conditions that will allow for continued strong national security. The administration continues to maintain a strict export control regime, and we are ensuring that the Blackwell chip and other advanced technologies stay right here in America. And these H200 chips will only be sent to China after undergoing a security inspection here in the United States. Elizabeth.
New York City Mayor Alexa Mondani put out a video recently telling immigrants in New York City they have the right to stand up to ICE. Are you concerned this will inspire New York City residents to resist ICE operations? And what will Trump administration do if this happens?
The Trump administration is definitely concerned about the rise in violence, in attacks, in physical threats that we have seen against our brave men and women who wear the ICE uniform. Again, these are agents who are just simply doing their jobs. They are enforcing our nation's immigration laws, and we've seen more than a 1,000% increase in violent attacks on them and their families. They've been doxxed, they've been harassed. Many of them have been physically assaulted and attacked. So we condemn that wholeheartedly. I know the administration has done a lot to protect our ICE agents, and the president stands firmly behind them in conducting these enforcement operations. And there's a lot of talk from Democrat politicians in New York, but the Trump administration will continue to do our jobs in every state, and that's to remove illegal aliens and public safety threats from American communities. Sure.
Thank you.
I'll go to the gentleman who's very eager, and then to you.
So much. Obviously, Jasmine Crockett, who the president has openly criticized, just entered Texas' Senate race. I asked Mike Johnson, who said that Texas largely supports the president. Crockett, on the other hand, says that Trump is an example of extremism. She says that her support is a referendum on Trump. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. And has Trump made any statements since she's announced her candidacy?
Not to my knowledge, as you know, from the White House podium, as a government employee, I'm not privy to comment on future elections, but I do think the president has made his thoughts on Ms. Crockett quite clear, and I do believe he thinks she is wholly unqualified for the office that she is seeking. Joey.
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. A federal judge today ordered the immediate release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia from ICE detention. Does White House have a response to that, and does the administration plan to appeal that decision?
Absolutely. The White House, the administration opposed this activism from a judge who is really acting as a judicial activist, which we've unfortunately seen in many cases across the country. Abrego Garcia is present in our country illegally. He is a proven human trafficker. He is a proven gang member. The administration has evidence of that. And as you saw from the Department of Homeland Security, they issued a statement saying they'll continue to fight this legal battle in court.
Caitlin, two questions. I have one on Venezuela to follow up, but first on affordability, since you were talking about the economy at the beginning. If the economy is as strong as the president has said it is, then why is he telling parents 2 weeks before Christmas that they should only buy 2 or 3 dolls for their children?
Look, what the president is saying is that if we want products made right here in America, if we want them to be made from American small businesses, which is a large part of the reason the president has effectively implemented tariffs, then we're going to have better quality products right here in the United States. Maybe you'll pay $1 or $2 more, but you will get better quality and you'll be supporting your fellow Americans by buying American. And that's what the president was saying. Again, with respect to affordability, every economic metric, Caitlin, and I wish you would report more on it, does in fact show that the economy is getting better and brighter than where it was under the previous administration. I will repeat, inflation as measured by the overall CPI has slowed to an average 2.5% pace. Real wages are increasing, roughly $1,200 for the average worker. Gas prices are down in almost every single state across the country. Again, in 22 states, it's below $2.75. You look at the tax cuts, those are going to go into effect next year. So the best is yet to come. The president is digging our country out of the economic hole that the previous administration put us in, and that's what he's talking about.
A year ago, as you know, and grocery prices have been up. So we've covered the economy, but there's mixed signals in terms of what that looks like.
But inflation is down from where it was. As measured by the overall CPI, it has slowed to an average 2.5% pace. This is down from what the president inherited. The president inherited 2.9% in January. Today, it's at about 2.5%. So we're trending in the right direction with more to come. And I would remind you, when President Trump left office in his first term, inflation was 1.7%. And the previous administration jacked it up to a record high 9%. So again, in 10 months, the president has clawed us out of this hole. He's kept it low at 2.5%. And we believe that number is going to continue to decline, especially as energy and oil prices continue to decline as well.
Maybe it wasn't high under Biden. They're just saying it's not.
Well, nobody reported on it being high under Biden. My predecessor was standing at this podium, but now you want to ask me a lot of questions about it, which I'm happy to answer. But I will just add, there's a lot more scrutiny on this issue from this press corps than there was. Well, and the previous administration said that too. My predecessor stood up at this podium and she said, inflation doesn't exist. She said the border was secure. And people like you just took her at her word. And those were two utter lies. Everything I'm telling you is the truth backed by real factual data. And you just don't want to report on it because you want to push untrue narratives about the president. Go ahead. I'm not gonna take your call. Go ahead.
Is the way optimistic about the upcoming redistricting vote in Indiana and what happens if it fails?
We'll see how the vote plays out. That's a political matter and frankly a legal one, and I won't comment on it here. Brian.
Thank you, Caroline. I'm gonna go back to the Fed. I have two topics as well addressing you. First one on the Fed. The president did say yesterday that he was meeting with Kevin Warsh.
This is your favorite story in the world, Brian.
It is our favorite story. The president said yesterday he was meeting with Kevin Warsh to talk about the Fed chair, an interview for a Fed chair role. Can you just say how that interview went with them?
I won't comment on private meetings without the president's approval to do so.
The second thing is on the Netflix Warner Brothers deal. The president did address this also yesterday. He said that he believes that the sale of CNN should be attached to that deal with Netflix or with Paramount, depending on how the sale goes down. Can you just explain what the president's planning to do going forward to continue to make that case similar to what he made yesterday?
Well, I think the president's comments yesterday about the sale of CNN and new leadership is evidenced by my exchange with the CNN reporter in this room. Their viewership has gone down, their ratings has declined, and I think the president rightfully believes that network would benefit from new ownership. With respect to this deal, he has great respect for both companies who are bidding against one another, and I won't weigh in any further than that. In the back, go ahead.
Thank you.
I wasn't calling on either of you, but I'll take both your questions and then to you. Go ahead.
One is South Korea, one on the Japan. First question, the recent US-South Korea trade pact sheet made no mention of agricultural products. Does the United States want to completely open its rice and beef market to South Korea? And second question on Japan. China is using its military power to surround Okinawa, Japan. Is the United States concerned about the military conflict between China and Japan? And what action will the United States take?
Okay. To your first question on South Korean beef or beef export to South Korea, I will check with our trade team and we will get you an answer on that. To your second question with respect to Japan and China, the president has a phenomenal relationship with the new Prime Minister of Japan, as you know. He was pleased to meet her when we went to Asia a couple of months ago, and they have spoken a few times since. They continue to be engaged with one another, and Japan is a great ally of the United States, as evidenced by their personal relationship and our continued trade relations with Japan. With respect to China, the president also has a good working relationship with President Xi, which he believes is a good thing for our country. And he believes that the United States should be in a position to have a good working relationship with China while maintaining our very strong alliance with Japan. Go ahead.
Yesterday, President Trump was speaking about drug production in Colombia. He said that the president of Colombia better wise up or he's gonna be next. What was he meaning exactly? And the other thing is that President Petro of Colombia responded to that statement by issuing a formal invitation to President Trump to go to Colombia and to see firsthand how the authorities in Colombia are fighting against drugs. Do you think that President Trump will consider that?
Well, that's very interesting. I hadn't heard the news about that invitation. I will let the president speak directly to it on whether or not that's something he would entertain. But as for his comments yesterday towards President Petro, he has been saying some very alarming and frankly insulting things towards the United States of America, and the president doesn't like it. Yes, in the blue.
Caroline?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. The president's been spotted out and about a number of times with bandages on his hands. Could you please explain what that is about? Secondly, he noted on True Social the other day that he had aced 3 cognitive tests. Could you please clarify when those tests took place?
I can do that at a later date. I obviously don't have that in front of me. The president has spoken about that quite extensively throughout the years. As for the bandages on the hand, we've also given you an explanation for that in the past. The president is literally constantly shaking hands. The Oval Office is like Grand Central Terminal. He is meeting with more people than any of you even know about on a daily basis. He's also on a daily aspirin regimen, which is something his physical examinations has said in the past as well, which can contribute to that bruising that we see.
Thank you, Caroline. Back to that oil tanker, just want to know, was this a one-off, or is it safe to say the administration is taking a more active look at the oil industry in Venezuela, whether targeting other oil ships or perhaps Venezuelan oil production facilities in Venezuela.
Well, I won't broadcast any future actions from the administration, but I will just reiterate that the Trump administration is executing on the president's sanction policies and the sanction policies of the United States. And we're not going to stand by and watch sanctioned vessels sail the seas with black market oil, the proceeds of which will fuel narco terrorism of rogue and illegitimate regimes around the world. Andrew?
Two for you. First, when the president announced the farm relief program the other day, Secretary Rollins afterwards, right out there, told us that the program would be paid for by the Commodity Credit Corporation, an existing program. The president keeps saying that it's being paid for by tariff revenue. Why does he keep saying that if the secretary who's running the program says that's not the case? And also about his doll comments from the other night. The president's a billionaire. He's probably the wealthiest person to ever serve as president. Is it a good look for him to be telling parents, oh, you should only buy, $2 or $3 for your kids when he's one of the wealthiest people in the country right now?
Do you think the people in that room in Pennsylvania who the president was speaking to don't know the president's a billionaire? I think that's a very well-established fact. And actually, I think it's one of the many reasons they reelected him back to this office, because he's a businessman who understands the economy and knows how to fix it. And he's doing it right now, just like he did in his first term. Sure, go ahead. To the gentleman behind you, Andrew, yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. On Gaza, we heard the president say yesterday that the board of peace members are going to be announced early next year. What is the administration doing to move the parties in the region closer toward phase 2 of his peace plan for Gaza?
Sure. Well, first of all, I would be remiss if I didn't highlight what a success it is that 10 months into the president's administration, you're asking me about a peace plan in Gaza, because that's a legitimate reality on the ground right now in the region. And it's only because of this president's leadership that was able to take place, that all the living hostages were returned. All but one body of the deceased hostages has been returned, and we're still, of course, working on the last one. As for this next phase of the peace process, there is a lot of quiet planning that's going on behind the scenes right now for phase 2 of the peace deal. And when the United States is ready to make those announcements public on the Board of Peace, the ISF, and the Palestinian technocratic government, we will be making those announcements at the appropriate time. But the reason that the negotiators and the teams on the ground have been rather quiet about this is because I spoke with them this morning. They are trying to be deliberate and thoughtful about this. Peace in Gaza, in the Palestinian Strip, is something, the Gaza Strip rather, is something that people have been trying to accomplish for 70 years. So, this is a complex problem, and this administration wants to be very thoughtful about it, and we want to ensure an enduring and lasting peace. And when those announcements are ready, they will be made. Sure.
Thank you. There are reports that Vladimir Putin called Maduro today to reaffirm his support. I wanted to ask if it's concerning to the president that Putin has Mr. warm embrace Maduro.
I don't think that would be concerning to the president at all, no. I'll let him speak on it further.
Spoken to Putin about that?
He has not spoken to President Putin today, and I understand that call took place this morning, so the answer is no.
Question about the ACA, but just first very quickly clarifying Caitlin's question. You acknowledged that CPI in January when you took office was 3%, and in September, the last month for which we have data, it was also 3%, so inflation.
No, it's 2.5%.
Not in September, it was 3%.
It's 2.5%, the average CPI right now. I have it in front of me. In President Trump's first 8 months in office, inflation as measured by the overall consumer price index has slowed to a 2.5 average pace. This is down from the 2.9% inherited in January.
January is 1 month.
Can
Can I ask you about the ACA really quickly? There are a number of plans that are floating around on the Hill right now having to do with these premium subsidies that are about to expire. Which plan does the White House support?
Again, I have told you now a few times that the president and Republicans will continue to unveil creative ideas and solutions to the healthcare crisis that was created by Democrats. And I know Chuck Schumer is putting up a vote today. This is a political show vote. Chuck Schumer is not sincerely interested in lowering healthcare costs for the American people. He's putting this vote on the floor knowing that it will fail so he can have another talking point that he can throw around without any real plan or action. If Chuck Schumer actually wanted to lower healthcare costs, I'm sure the president would welcome him and his entire Democrat caucus to a legitimate coordination on the president's policies of bringing down drug prices, these most favored nation deals. Why hasn't Chuck Schumer ever come out in support of those? Those are going to legitimately, they already are, lower drug prices for the American people, and not a word from Chuck Schumer on it. So I think that just proves this is completely political.
On Venezuela, does the president consider the seizure of the oil tanker an escalation or a step towards war with Venezuela?
I think the president considers the seizure of the oil tanker as effectuating the administration's sanction policies, which I've already discussed previously.
Potential invasion or potential land strikes in Venezuela aligned with the president's supporters, the MAGA base, does it risk the potential for a prolonged war and U.S. troops involved in that?
Prolonged war is definitely not something this president is interested in. He's been very clear about that. He wants peace. He also wants to see the end of illegal drugs being trafficked into the United States and taking the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans across our country. And he's thinking about that every day here at the White House. With every drug boat that is taken out by this administration, we are saving thousands of lives by deterring those drugs and stopping those drugs from flowing into our country. You will all, excuse me, you'll all hear, excuse me, you will all see the president tonight. He'll be making remarks at the Congressional Christmas Ball, which will be taking place here at the White House. And later this afternoon, he will be signing some congressional bills and executive orders that we, as always, will keep you apprised of. Thanks, guys.
Wow, that was really a quick news briefing, but I think that she did a good job, like informing us. But President Trump, like she said, will be speaking later on today and tonight at the ball. So, but I think what they need to address is those strikes on those boats that Pete Hegseth had ordered, that President Trump said that he had nothing to do with. Like when you have survivors and you're not supposed to strike again. I think that's a war crime. You know, you're supposed to, they were not a threat at that point. So I think at the end of the day, Trump has removed himself from that strike because he said, look, I didn't know anything about it. And Pete Hegseth was trying to blame it on another officer who, I guess, commanded the second strike. But at the end of the day, when you are the head, which is Pete Hegseth, it all falls on you. So you can't excuse yourself saying that you stepped away. After 2 hours, it was taking too much of your time. Like if you're going to make a strike, then you have to be there to see it through. You can't step away. That's called being a leader. So I think at the end of the day that he's going to answer to Congress, he's going to answer to the world because there are rules about survivors. And right now it looks like the United States, I don't know if it's true, do we want a war with Venezuela? Are we trying? Because Trump has said recently that he said next we're going to put troops on the ground in Venezuela. So I don't know what that means because he is a president of peace. So I don't know where we're going with that, but it's something in Venezuela. I don't know if it's minerals. What do they have that we want? Because we're not doing this for any just reason. There is a reason behind it. Now he says because of drugs, but fentanyl comes from China. I don't know how much involved Venezuela is in pushing the drugs that are coming into the United States because he said every boat that they take out, Karoline says that it saves thousands of lives, which fentanyl is so deadly. They say just the tip of a pin or whatever can kill you. So it is deadly, but being in the United States, we set examples for the world. We have to do things in decency and order because we're not barbaric. We're not communists. We have to have a standard that set the stage for the rest of the world so people do hold United States more accountable than other countries because of who we are. That goes along with being top dog.
Yes.
We're top dog.
Your song said what happened to due process. Like you said, they can get due process in their own country.
Oh, are we talking about Garcia right now? Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Garcia. Y'all can go back at some of the videos that we did on the MS-13 Trinidad Aragon people that came into the countries when the previous administration had those open borders that have affected all Americans. Now, Americans, let's be clear, Americans are not against open borders. We want people to be vetted, to come in the right way, the legal way, and get their certificate of naturalization, just like all other countries. But when you open up a border, we had cartel in its 13, we had 350 terrorists, we had Venezuela empty out their prisons with over 11,000 murderers, 15,000 convicted. I forgot the word, convicted rapists and murderers. So we had all sorts of people that came into this country, which made America more unsafe. So when you have someone like, what's his name, Abrego Garcia, now we already spent $5 million on him the first time. He's been before over 30 judges before they tried to send him out the country the first time when he went to El Salvador.
How about you make your own channel?
When he went to El Salvador, we'll address him. When we went to El Salvador, and then somehow he got brought back here again. We had our Congress people and senators from Maryland. What was his name? What's his name? Van Hollen. He went over there when he had people, his constituents, American voters, that lost their children to illegal immigrants. He didn't even talk to the families as far as they said, but he cared more about Garcia than the welfare of the Americans that lost their children's lost their lives to illegal immigrants.
Tristan, why don't you just make your own channel? If you say we can't speak for about politics and American people, make your own channel and say your views.
We can speak all we want to because we're speaking as American citizens. Exactly. So that right there give us a right to speak. Who else? Somebody from another country is supposed to speak for us? These are our sentiments. And one thing about America, you can agree to disagree. Everybody is never on the same page. That goes along with being American. But we have what's called the freedom of speech. And if you don't like it, guess what? There are 1,000 other channels that are talking about the same thing. So choose. You can choose. But what we're saying about Garcia, now you have a judge, after ISIS did all this, and monies are being spent with our taxpayer dollars for this one man. The Democrats made a mistake making him the poster child. First of all, he's already was convicted of several offenses. One, they got him with trafficking people, human trafficking. He assaulting his wife. I think she's even probably afraid of him. So it's different. He's not a model citizen. Let's just be clear. He is not like, see, the people that came into this country, the non-citizens that came in years ago, they respect America. They respect America. They came in here wanting to support American values. They tried to learn the culture. They came to work. They did not come burning our flags, causing chaos in our streets, fighting our police who are supposed to be keeping law and order. But the people that came in now, they want lawlessness. 14 plus million people came in and they were put on welfare. Yeah. They didn't come, they came in with the clothes on their backs. While we have our American citizens that are still on the damn streets, including our vets, our disabled, our home, and our seniors. They're homeless. Yeah. But we gave thousands of dollars for SNAP, healthcare, you know what's called healthcare, schools, all that cost. Clothing, they had the clothes on their back. And then they came and act like we owe them something.
They can't even speak English and they driving cars.
They can't speak English, they can't read the signs, they're driving cars, and they have been killing people because they can't drive. And then they're in our schools. Our kids were dumbed down because of COVID, because they were not going to school. Now you brought all these foreigners and their children who can't speak English. So guess what? Our kids aren't learning. They're not learning. They pay more attention to the non-citizens than to our children. And that's why our education system is at rock bottom, even though we spend fortunes for education, but our kids are they're dumbing them down. They're dumbing them down. And guess what? America is broke. We can't even afford all of this. How about that we're $38 trillion in debt? Let's not forget that. But this Garcia situation, I thought they got him out the country. Now he's back, and now they're saying let him back out. I mean, how about getting your naturalization, your certificate of naturalization?
Chris Chapman, you sound really sensitive, dude.
How about like every country, go to China and demand them to take care of you? I'll wait. Go to Russia and demand them to take care of you and burn their flags while you're at it. Burn their flags. Take over their streets. Fight their police officers who wants to keep law and order. Go do everything they have done here. Go and demand that you take care of them over their citizens. Demand anything. I want to see them put you in housing and give you luxury apartments, give you $23,000 stamps, SNAP benefits when Americans going to work every day can't suffering from food insecurities. 42 million Americans suffering from food insecurities, while we gave $40 billion to Argentina. How about going to one of those countries and make the same demands you make on the United States of America? I'll wait. Because America is a great country. America has opened its borders to everyone, but we can't afford it. And that's why Trump has ICE trying to get these people out. He said, you go out on your own, we'll give you $1,000, and then we'll allow you to come back in, go through the process. You'll be put on top of, you'll be put at the head of the line. So they have options. This isn't their country. And then the ones that have come here now, they're not trying to learn American values. They're bringing all the crap that they left to us. They're bringing it here. And someone's had the audacity in the chat tell them, why don't Americans learn language other than English? Because we don't have to. This is an English-speaking country. We don't have to.
So it says, speaking common sense tells me you voted for Trump. Thank you.
We got to be real. And even as far as voting, you got to go with policy. Who's the best man for the job? When I looked at who was running, if we want to go there, Kamala was unfit. There's no way getting around that. I helped support to get Biden in the office.
What?
My position has been political director of publication and legislation, a legislative director. I mean, I've done thousands of rallies. I supported presidents, congressmen, senators, all the 9 yards. But the people that was running for the Democratic Party, they were horrific.
Gio Mira, what are you talking about? First off, we're Americans. We're not part of any tribe from Africa, dude. And Native Americans are Native Americans. They're not Latinos.
You don't even have to address it because they are an immigrant.
Shut up.
They are an immigrant.
Yeah.
They're immigrant. And that's what shows. Because, see, in America, you have freedom of speech and you're not used to it. And obviously, your butt hurt. You're wounded by the truth. You're being wounded because you don't want to hear it. And so you have a choice. You don't have to listen. But the truth is the truth. And America needs to be America first. Because we've taken care of everyone else except for the people of this country. Our taxpayer dollars is taken care of. We gave $350 billion to Ukraine, $40 billion to Argentina, while our farmers and everybody need money. We've given $40 million to the Taliban cash payment starting 2021 with Biden. We've given so much to everybody except for Americans. And Americans got to beg and plead for what we have invested in with our tax dollars. Why is that? We need to take care of us. We need to look out for our own. China's not looking out for America. They're looking out for China. Russia is not looking out for America. Their interest is looking out for Russia. So why aren't Americans looking out for Americans? Make that make sense. Why aren't we? We are supposed to look out for us. Every country on this earth does that. And people, they insulting because they just want to walk over Americans and want us to keep giving them, give me this, give me that. When you give your child everything and they don't earn it, they don't respect you. And neither do the people that's been coming in here. They don't respect us because everything's been handed to them. They have to earn what's given to them. They have to earn it. And they need to follow our laws. Because guess who have to follow our laws? We do. We do.
So you think Joe Biden looked out for the American people? Because a couple people in the chat keep saying Trump just looks out for himself. So what did Biden do for the American people?
Look, what we need are people who are going to look out for Americans. I see both. I see the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I have voted for both. And we need people that are going to look out for our best interests. I think people start out maybe with good intent, but I would have never fought so hard to get Biden in office and previous presidents and congressmen and senators and different people in office if I knew they didn't have our best interests at heart. You know, that 1994 crime bill that Biden did, that he's the author of, no Black person should have ever have voted for him. But being uneducated about the actions of the Democratic Party is like what you don't know can hurt you. That's the truth. That's the truth. I thought the Democratic Party was always for we the people and Americans, and they're not, and especially the Black community. We're the most loyal voting base in this country, and we need to stop voting straight ballot for Democrats. We need to look at the policies and the records, and if they're not doing anything for us, they don't get our votes. Everybody else have less voting power than we do, but they get what they want because they make demands that we don't make, and we have to stop. We Black Americans spend and keep this country going over $1 trillion plus worth of spending power that we do each and every year. You know, let alone that everybody copies Black America's swag, our songs, our talents, our music, everything. Everything that we do is copied. And this is the identity of America. Everybody, look at every different culture. They try to dress like us, talk like us, sing like us, walk like us, dress like us, the whole 9 yards. But as far as the community and the Black community, you got to look at policy. If people stop voting just straight Democrats, because all they give us is a song and a dance and people twerking, but they do nothing for the community. There is no anti-hate crime bill. There's no George Floyd bill. There's no John Lewis bill. There's nothing being done for Black Americans. And as far as the Democratic Party, I didn't know that they filibustered the Civil Rights Act over 70 days to stop it. I didn't know that they were behind the 1994 mass incarceration bill by Joe Biden. I didn't know that they were Jim Crow, and I didn't know that they saw the Ku Klux Klan in Pulaski, Tennessee.
Well,
That's all Democrats.
Well, Circle, maybe you need to look more into Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill, where he referred to Black people, especially Black men, as super predators.
Mhm.
Need to maybe
Beyond the pill, all that,
Yeah.
beyond rehabilitation,
Need
all
to
that.
look into
Just
that.
lock them up. Just lock them up. And that's what they did. And y'all talking about separating immigrant families. The Democrat Party, they fight for illegal citizens than American citizens. But you don't care that all of the Black children and Black families who were separated with their fathers were bogus crimes, over sentencing, and everything that they did to the Black community to keep us suppressed. I didn't realize until now that we have content all over the place of how influential the mainstream media is. I thought all crime was committed by Blacks, and that's what the immigrants think, because all they do is show you when a Black person committed a crime, they get the crazy picture up, they put full face on the screen and oh, that's a thug, he's violent and all that. But all the main crime that's being committed by other ethnicities, they don't post, they don't put up, and they don't show. All these cop killers done by other ethnicity, white, they don't show you that. They don't even say the name. They keep all that stuff hidden from the media. So they want to give you the perception. When they talk about Black crime, they only talk about Chicago. They don't talk about the 49 other states. Because Black people are innovative. We're engineers, doctors, lawyers, multimillionaires, middle class, wealthy, billionaires, and they know it. But they want to give you a persona like we're not productive and we're lazy when we built this damn country. See, all that stuff is a lie. Most Black people are not on welfare like they want you to think. It's not us. It's not us. But as long as you keep looking at mainstream media, they paint a picture, and this is what they want you to believe. But we have to be focused on what's best for Americans. Period.
Well, Tristan, we're not going to show it right now, but if you actually want to be educated, look up the crime statistics and look at the numbers for each race, and you'll realize that Black people aren't the highest of each crime for our race.
We never enslaved anybody. We're not the thugs.
He's trying to say that Black people
It's
have the
okay.
highest crime rate.
Go to the FBI. Go to FBI. Look up FBI and look up the census, and you can get all the information. Because I already did a show on it, put it up to show who's the leader in crime, who's all. It's not us, but we're the face of like DEI. diversity, equity, inclusion. They make us the face of everything. And we didn't benefit from DEI at all. But every time they talk about DEI, they act like it's some black person that's uneducated and they need a hand up. Guess what? When you're black, you got to be the best of the best. You got to graduate the top of your class. So if you see a black executive, they the smartest person in the damn room. Nothing is given to black people. It's not given. We have to earn everything. We always have. And it was such a threat. They always try to keep us suppressed. But you can't take us back. And that's what they're trying to do even now. But nobody's going back. We're going to continue to progress and continue to move forward. That's how life is. You know, but we got all these stereotypes. The more the information, ask AI. Go to ChatGPT, Google. You can find out any statistics you want. You can find out for yourself. You can find out for yourself, but people don't want to know the truth. It's not us, but it's easy to blame a black person. All the crime that's committed, it's not about us. And you want to go by community, black on black crime, it's white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, Asian on Asian crime. That's across the board. It's across the board. But when they always want to highlight black people, they don't talk about the 49 other states. They continue to talk about Chicago like that's the world, and it's not. That's not our identity. You can go to any community. They said it's 10 red states that got higher crime rate than Chicago. Did they show y'all that? Is that plastered on the news? Is that talked about? It's not, because it has to be black. Because we got to be the boogeyman. You got people, immigrants coming into this country and think, oh, black people, they this and they that. And that's a lie from hell. We are wonderfully, we are the apple of God's eye. We're perfectly and wonderfully made. We are successful. We're movers and shakers. And you know that civil rights bill that they are benefiting off of? You need to thank a black person. So anybody that's an immigrant or not from this country that's on here, y'all need to be thanking every black person you see, because you're here and the rights you have is because of us. And as far as Trump is concerned, the only people that's allowed to be here are black Americans. Okay, but you're benefiting from the rights that we died and we fought for is what you're experiencing. So thank us for that. You thank us for that. But we got to get our Democratic Party to fight for our rights and focus. I'm talking about Americans, all Americans. We got to fight for all Americans. Like all other countries, they put their country first and they take care of their people. You try going, all y'all immigrants or any American, try going to somebody else's country and demand for them to take care of you, or they owe you something, or you're entitled to something, especially over their citizens. Because that's the bull crap that's happening here. Off of my dime, off my taxpayer dollars. And I want my taxpayer dollars to go to those homeless vets, to the disabled. I don't want to see American citizens on the street, period.
Well, AO, look up Black Wall Street and what they did to Black Wall Street and what happened to
Every
that.
time we try to get a leg up, they destroy it.
Yeah.
Every time.
Because they're saying, can you name one city that's black, that's predominantly wealthy?
We're in every state, in every city. Every state, we're all over the place. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. We're Americans. We're everywhere. But we're American. We're Americans first. Are you? We're Americans. You can't take away, and through all our struggles, we're here. Through all our struggles, we're still successful. Through all our struggles, all the suppression, all the laws that are against us, everything's been against us. We are here. We're survivors.
It's not that people act like too that racism is actually pretty recent. It wasn't that long ago when there was segregation and racism.
Yeah, just like 60 years ago, what black people was sitting in the back of a bus? Are you kidding me? All this stuff is recently that has changed. So, you know, I think that Jesus be back before we get it all together, because we are living in the last days. You know, everything that's going on here now, and like the world and this country is just out of whack. It's like what the Democrats have done, which had turned me off. The last election, I didn't vote for same-sex marriages. Wasn't voting for open borders. I wasn't voting for mutilating children, because no man will ever be able to do what only God can do. They can't change your sex, so keep your body parts. They can't grow a penis on a woman. They can't put a vagina in a man. That's facts. Save yourself. Save yourself. Whatever you want to be here, you can be. But don't allow people to take your money and mutilate your body. Especially they're doing this to children before they can eat, they're not even allowed to drive. They're not even in high school. They're doing this to literally children in elementary school. Save those children. You know, it's a long ways that we have to go. It's a lot that we have to do. And the first thing we have to do is speak the truth. And that's what this show is about. Speak the Truth 2.0. We have to do what's right in God's eyesight. Because let me be clear for people who've never been on here before. Thank you for coming and spending your time with us. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. I have other channels called Speak the Sports. And I have another channel called Pray to All Here. Subscribe to those channels because we're going to be putting up more content. But what I want to say is that this channel is created to speak the truth 2.0 so that we can have real talk, real conversations, and we're not beholden to man, we're beholden to God. So I don't answer to anyone on here or in the chat because y'all have your own personal issues and your own personal biases. I answer to God.
Yeah.
Period.
Here, I got to reply to AO real fast. Well, you could thank Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill to what happened to the black population, black men, and lack of
You're not making babies.
lack of fathers in the household violence. You could talk. You could
Go
just
ahead, get in the camera.
you could thank Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill to the what's the black community
I'm
now.
talking about fatherless children when they locked all the black men up.
He's so sorry to hear about the crime and the violence in predominantly black communities.
But that's a lie. He watched too much television.
Yeah.
Because look at it in the white communities, is rampant there as well, and even more so. So if you're going to call people out, look in all community, look in your own community. Are you even from here? Look in your own community. You know, you've been brainwashed by mainstream media that you believe everything that you see. Now, even when the truth is slapping you in the face, because everything I said to you is the truth, but you can't receive it because you have your biases and you're rejecting the truth because you rather see that black people are pictured a certain way when we are the second, I think, in the world making money as far as black Americans. We are productive. We are inventors. We're moving and shaking. We're not living in the ghetto. We're single home owners. We drive luxury cars. We're educated. So like that picture that you have is a falsehood. So that's why you see black people, you think there's a certain way, they're like, oh, he's a doctor. You think that person is from the street, and we are really well put together. We're extremely intelligent. Extremely. You know, but people like to have people to step on because it makes them feel better when they have nothing. Because if you had it together, you wouldn't feel more comfortable that you got to put someone else down in order to feel more superior in your mindset. And only your mindset are you, you know, that's how some people, they feel better. And that's what former President Johnson said. All you got to do is convince, I need that quote, the lowest paying like white person is there higher up than the black person, then you could pick his pockets out of anything. So even he had that concept. I don't know the exact quote. Look up President Johnson's quote. And he said you could pick, he's talking about white people pockets of anything. You just got to let them think that they are more superior than the black man. And that's still being done today. As long as they have that mindset, even if you're not, then that's the mindset. But you're supposed to stand on your own merit, on your own accomplishment. We only have one life to live, and you should strive to make it better for at least your family. At the very least, you should want the best for your children. You should have some sort of goals instead of being bitter, angry, upset at what's going on. And if you don't like the president, there's another election in 3 years. Every 4 years, you can vote whoever you want to as president of the United States, but you don't start there. You got to vote to make sure you have the right mayors, the judges, the right senators, the congressmen. You got to make sure the school board. You got to vote down the board to have the right people in the right position that's going to benefit you and your community. Because we're all blended in all communities. You can't separate it. It's like I could vote Republican but have a Democratic congressman. Guess what? He got to represent me too, and vice versa. You know, we're all blended together. And as far as Americans, we need to come together because our worst enemy is ourselves. Because when stuff start imploding in this country, you're going to need to pull together, you guys. You're going to need to pull together. We need to make sure that the people we're elected into office have our best interests, all of ours best interests. All that running out, the Democratic Party, they spend all their time fighting for non-citizens. When the last time they fought for you? I'm talking about two Americans right now. When have they fought for you? The last time. You know, they don't bring us up at all because they're looking for another voting bloc because they want to take back the White House. So they're staying on mission, even though they lost the presidency, lost the election. They're still on mission to get legalize these immigrants who don't give a damn about America. They, you know, it's sad that they don't even respect us. They're not grateful. You know, they don't want to learn our culture. They came from a communist country, they bring it here. They come from a socialist country, they bring it here. They're bringing their values here, not American values. They're not learning about our cultures and learning how to be American.
They don't have the American dream.
You know, they just want us to keep giving to them like we owe them something. And they are far cry from the ones that's been here for years that's been working. They are far cry from that. This is a whole different. After that last administration, somehow they made them think that they were entitled, and they're not entitled. What they need to do is learn how to be American, get your certificate of naturalization, apply for citizenship. Because America has an open door, but right now we're broke.
And too, that's what Caroline was saying. Did you hear what Caroline was saying?
Oh, what?
She was saying like that y'all had no criticisms for Joe Biden and his administration, but now that I'm here in his Trump administration, y'all are all criticizing it about inflation and everything else.
But you know what? Yeah, you're right. But it's a long way we have to go. But you know what? God said, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became adult, I put away childish things. You have adults that still haven't grown up, and that's a problem. Amen. Preach it. Okay. They don't want to come here legal. No, I love you. Yeah, see, the thing about it is that you got to put away these childish things if you're an adult, especially if you have children. I'm trying to block because it's sunny outside. Um, you got to put away those childish mindsets and be an adult. You know, what did the poll say?
Do you support Trump's economy? 44% said yes and 57% said no.
Okay. I think it was too early for Trump to do the economy tour because the economy, people have to feel, you can talk numbers, but until we can feel that life is better, it's kind of useless right now because as far as Americans are, especially right after a shutdown, and 42 million people were cut off from SNAP benefits, and you had over 2 months of people not even getting a paycheck. They had to go into food, you know, they had to go to food lines to get food. That I think that's a bad time to be saying how great the economy is. I think the timing, just 2 weeks ago, we was in a shutdown. So I think that it's too soon for that, especially if you don't have these countries that promise all this money and factories and stuff that come into the country. They're not here yet.
You should have asked. Well, I have two things to reply with that way.
Go ahead.
You should have asked, like, do you support Trump's economy or Joe Biden's economy?
I did. I was asking those questions, and like, who economy do you support more? Well, did you support Biden's economy or Trump economy? Because they were talking about egg prices and gas prices, and inflation was high, interest was high.
Another thing is we can't forget about Trump's tariffs, which are helping the countries.
Well, I don't think they are. Preaching girl, God bless you. I love you. Yeah, thank you. I love you too. You know what? I think that it's too soon for Trump to be doing the economy too. I think that all the promises that were made, I think that should come when the money comes in. Like Qatar promised billions of dollars. The Saudi Arabia prince promised $1 trillion. what was it? Hyundai promised billions, Apple promised billions, like all these companies that he said you do business here. I think he should wait because right now and right after the shutdown, people not feeling all that happy about the economy. I don't know. They're not feeling that happy about the economy. I just think that the economy tour is like bad timing, especially with Christmas coming up and people were concerned about Thanksgiving and being able to travel. I think it's too soon. I think Trump should do an economy tour when people can actually feel that the economy has improved. So you could say gas is a price, you could say all that, but until people are experiencing it at a higher rate, people are like the poll said that people don't feel like Trump economy is better. Say, do you support Trump's economy? And 43% yes said yes, and 57% said no, and that was 912 people voted. And so people are not overall feeling that the economy is better, and maybe it's an individual thing. But when people still can't buy houses and interest rates are too high and all this other stuff is going on, I just think the timing, the end of the year, I think that he should wait until we have some of the companies coming into the country. I think that his timing is off. You got to give him a chance to see how the tariffs work. He's only been in office for like
Ben,
10 months, 11 months. You got to give him a chance to
Ben,
improve the economy.
Ben, you could compliment my mother, but like just be respectful about it. Like I'm about to just block you because you keep saying the same thing in a disrespectful way.
Okay, you guys, but we got to run because I got to hit the gym. God bless you. We're going to try to come back on because Trump will be back on. He said he's going to answer questions that his press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, said that he's going to answer the questions that she couldn't answer at the press conference. And she's the press secretary. But we want to hear from Trump himself. So I know he's going to do another meeting a little later on. And he's also going to do, I think, she was talking about some ballroom tonight. So we're going to see Trump later on tonight.
It's like Ben, like for example, like if your mom was, I was watching her stream, and like if she's beautiful, I would be like, I wouldn't be disrespectful about it. I'd be saying like she's beautiful.
You're a beautiful, clever lady. You have all listed. And guys, thank you, and I appreciate it. We're gonna get a teleprompter because people I like being authentic. So we're unscripted.
Like would you feel if I was saying that about your mom? Is basically my point.
So
it's called being respectful to people.
They say big up to your son. That's my baby. But God bless all of you, and it's one day at a time. And thank God this is the day that God has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. So just be thankful you woke up today. Be thankful if you have a home, if you have a roof over your head, if you have transportation, if you have food. I mean, it's a lot of things to be thankful for. If you have good health, if your children are healthy, if all these things matter. So you guys, you go about your day, just find something to be thankful about, because there's a lot of stuff you can say you don't like. You can hate on people. You can do or hate your job, but then you gotta you gotta be thankful even a job you don't like. Thank God you're getting a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks. So until maybe you find something better or something that you enjoy doing better than the job you have. But just be grateful, because a lot of people, you have more than most of the world if you're living in the United States. You have more than most of the world. So be thankful, be grateful for everything, and be the best person you can be. Bless someone today. Just compliment people. If you don't, it's not monetary. Just compliment someone today. You know what that does for someone's spirit? When you just give them something like a compliment. Like, I respect you, I admire you, you look nice today. Just at your job, some people at their jobs or whatever the case, your children say, oh, I like how your daughter, I like how you did your hair today. Just little things, even your children. Let them know they got good grades. Even if they didn't good grades, show them that you support them, and they will strive to do better.
You'll get it next time.
Yeah, they tell them you'll get it next time. That's all right. I know you can do better. Support. That support goes a long way. So anyway, you guys, we're going to jump off. Don't forget, please subscribe to my Speak to Sports. I'm putting up videos right now because I love NFL football, I love basketball, I love college football, all the 9 yards. That's my sports channel. Yeah, I'll talk some football with you, like golf, not golf, not tennis, no, no, I like the rougher sports, no. But yeah, subscribe to Speak to Sports and subscribe to Pray Till All Here. These are two other channels I gotta start uploading. I am going to start featuring Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell, who's my pastor, my digital pastor. I love him. And we'll start putting content because people need prayer. People need to know that God wants the best for you, just like he said in his word in Jeremiah 29:17. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. So with all that said, no one can say it better than our Lord and Savior. Peace out, you guys. And come back and join us again. And please get these likes up to 100. To 100. God bless you and have a great day.